Hi, so today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make the coffee using a French press. By the way, this is a smaller size French press here, and I'll tell you exactly how many cups of water it holds. I always get them confused between the larger sizes, so I just filled it up with some water here. And as you can see, this is a 3-cup French press. Now the French press it's one of the best ways for you to actually make some very delicious coffee. There's a trick to it, and I'll demonstrate it in a bit. So right over here I'm actually boiling some water, and water should always, when you're using the French press, I recommend to go at 180, which we're about right now, and just kill the heat source. Now, obviously, I'm not ready yet because I haven't ground up my coffee yet. But in a little bit, we will be ready, and we shall make some very delicious coffee using the French press. And you'll see how easy it is to make coffee in a French press. So today I'll be using some Java. I just purchased the Java green bean coffee a couple of days ago, and I have never had a Java Arabica bean. And I roasted this one to a dark roast profile. And for this 3-cup French press, we're gonna utilize 30 grams of coffee. If you don't have a good coffee grinder, and you want something simple at home, Mr. Coffee actually makes a decent coffee coffee green bean grinder. And on the front it has how many cups you want. I really don't pay attention to the front because it's not accurate, as it's kind of like misleading, because basically the lower the number that you go, the less coffee is ground. And over here on the back, this is the important part. You have the fine grind, like espresso grind, and if you take it all the way to this end, it's the coarse grind. So if you're using like a French press, you don't want to go a fine grind, because if you do a fine grind, it's gonna just go through your filter, and you're gonna have coffee grounds in your water. So I recommend using a middle ground of not too far in the coarse grind, and not too much in the middle. I'll probably put like a number 9. And the reason I do this is because with too much of a coarse grind, you may not fully get all the essential oils from fresh roasted coffee, and the essential oils, that's where your flavor's at. So a medium grind, a medium ground coffee is actually a nice profile to have, because the coffee grounds are going to be small enough to release more of your essential oils, but not, too fine where they're coming in through the screen of the French press. And too coarse of a ground, again, you're not releasing as many or as much essential oils into your coffee. It's still going to taste good, but it's better if you use like the medium to coarse profile. This machine actually is kind of noisy, so while I'm grinding, I'll pause this video. So our 30 grams of coffee have actually been placed inside of the French press, and I'm reheating my water. Don't use tap water. For your best tasting coffee, use bottled water or fresh water. I have a water filter over here, so this is about at the 180 mark already, so I'm gonna stop the water here. And you want to come over and fill to start about halfway of the glass container, not all the way just yet. And the reason that I'm only filling it up halfway, is because I'm gonna agitate the coffee using this glass stir stick. These glass stir sticks, oh, and by the way, you want to do this for approximately 3 minutes. So I'm keeping an eye on my clock over here. Obviously, you're gonna have a different time than what I have, but about 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. Oh my gosh, this smells wonderful. By the way, like I mentioned to everyone, I have not had Java coffee before, and notice how it's all creamy from the top. Well, this cream that you're actually seeing is actually all the flavor. It's the essential oils of the coffee. And in fresh roasted coffee, I'm not gonna get into the medical or science part of things, but I do recommend that you go onto scholarly websites such as ScienceDaily.com, and you actually type in the benefits of fresh roasted coffee. And not to be biased, also search for articles, the cons about either. There's probably going to be nothing on fresh roasted coffee, but the cons about coffee, maybe drinking coffee too much might be affecting your sleep, and other known topics that come up with the con side of coffee. But again, everything in moderation. But there is a lot of health benefits in fresh roasted coffee. So I'm going to stir this for another couple minutes. Well, actually, 1 to 17, 1 more minute, so we're almost ready. These the reason you want to use a glass stick is because it doesn't release any of the flavor or flavoring at all, compared to like perhaps a wooden spoon or some kind of metal spoon into your when you're actually agitating the coffee here. There's nothing wrong with those methods, except that if you want to have or taste your coffee in the purest form, glass doesn't release any flavors whatsoever. And I actually found out about this through other people on YouTube, and I tried it and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're absolutely correct. So let's see, where am I at? I'm about in the 3 minute mark. And what I'm gonna do is I'll put this on my sink. Careful, because they are glass. And here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna top it off all the way to about right there, at the bottom of this metal rim right here. And that, by the way, I do that because when you actually put the press inside, you don't actually cause too much gravity to pour out your coffee. You'll be fine. Now, one of the things that you want to make sure when you're, I'm actually holding the camera, but these parts right here, where I'm pointing out right here on the coffee grinder, there's actually 3 parts. This part at the bottom that looks like a T or a cross, it's actually the holder of the mesh screen. And if you pay attention, right in the middle, there's a little a mesh screen, a circular mesh screen, that's actually getting sandwiched between this bottom plate and the top plate right here, which has that coil going around it. And it basically, the top plate actually prevents your mesh that actually does the filtering of your coffee from actually getting running up on you and allowing the grounds to actually come up onto your liquid. So it's very slowly and gently. Don't go all the way to the bottom just yet. Just bring it down a little bit and allow it to marinate for maybe another couple minutes. And in the meantime, what you can do is see where, I don't know if you could see it on the there's some ridges that are on the press itself, on the press part itself. And you want to have those ridges facing forward, because when you pour, obviously you want the liquid to come out. I made the mistake a few times and I've had it sideways where it's locked up. I'm like, why isn't anything coming or it's dripping on me? Well, that's because it was closed. So this is technically ready. And the reason I like to bring it halfway is, and kind of like on this particular model here, on the last maybe cup or so, then I will bring the press fully all the way down to compress as much of the ground coffee as possible, and bring up the remaining coffee up to the surface. And that's pretty much it. And I guarantee that you guys are gonna be loving this flavor. It's really tasty, and this particular origin, it's very good. I never had Java, but it smelled really amazing right now when I was actually doing the agitation of the coffee. Well, let me know what you think. If you have any comments or ideas, or you have other knowledge with using the French press, I would like to hear about it. And enjoy. Have a good one.